Jai Hind everyone. Today we are going to start with the topic that is concepts of loops in C. So, in the beginning, we need to understand what the process of iteration is, why there is a requirement of having loops. So, we can say iteration, that is a process where a set of instructions or statements is executed repeatedly for a specified number of times or until a specified condition, a specific condition is met. That means simply when we need to repeat a particular statement multiple number of times, then we require some sort of mechanism so that instead of writing a single statement again and again multiple number of times, we should be writing a single statement and according to the condition that will be repeated n number of times, right? Whatever is the requirement, right? So these statements are these statements also alter the control flow of the program and thus can also be classified as control statements in C programming language, right? So that's why these are also known as control statements in C programming language. So iteration statements are mostly commonly known as loops, right? Multiple number of times we must have seen that somewhere it is written what is the iteration process. What do you understand by the iteration process? Somewhere we might be getting what does it mean by a loop, why there is a requirement of a loop, what is the concept of loop. So iteration statements are mostly known as, or we can say most commonly known as, loops, right? That means a process in which we can have a repetition of a particular statement according to the requirement, right? For example, suppose I am asking you to display AKGEC one time on your screen, right? So what we'll write, right? In C programming language, we use printf statement to display, fine. So I'll be writing AKGEC within the double quotes and then I'll execute, right? So what will be the output? Output simply will be AKGEC, right? That is about one time. Now suppose if I want to write say 5 times, okay fine, you will say we can write 5 printf statement, and so on, fine. But say 5 number of times I have written this printf statement. But now what will happen if I ask you to display AKGEC 50 times on your screen or 500 times on your screen, fine. So it would become very much difficult or say little bit hasty, right, to write a same statement again and again multiple number of times, right? So that's why we have a concept of loop. What we'll do, we'll simply apply a loop and we'll say okay 1 to 50, if 50 times I need to print 1 to 50, this statement has to get printed, that needs to be displayed, right? So simply we will be applying a loop and with the help of loop that statement will be executing and will display whatever the requirement or the required output is. As simple as that, right? So also we say the repetition process in C is done by using loop control instruction, and here we are having 3 types of loops, that is while loop, do while loop and for loop, right? So okay fine, let's discuss one by one. Number 1, while loop. While loop says if a particular condition is true, the statement will be executed. First, it will check the condition. You can say, sometimes we can say entry control loop, some exit control loops and so on. So, what is entry control loop? If the condition is not true, this loop will not allow you to take the entry within the code of block. As simple as that, right? So, that is why it requires the condition to be true, right? The condition has to be true, right? If the condition is true, the statement is executed, then the whole thing is done again. The statement is executed repeatedly until the condition becomes false. If the condition becomes false, the statement is never executed at all. What does it mean? That says if the condition is not true, suppose I have written while n is less than 5, printf AKGEC, right? Say I have taken a variable n and the value of n is 10. What is the value of n? The value of n is 10. Okay. What it will do? It will check 10 less than 5. Is it true? No, that's not true. 10 is not less than 5. 10 is what? 10 is greater than 5. So, it will never enter into this block of code. The loop will never enter, the control will never enter into the loop, right? So, that is why we are saying if the condition starts out false, the statement is never executed at all. So, now we will be discussing an example to understand the concept of while loop. We need to write a program to print a table of a given number, right? So, what we can do, what is the table of a given number? For example, I need to write a table of 2 that says 2 multiplied by 1 that equals to 2, 2 multiplied by 2 that equals to 4, 2 multiplied by 3 that equals to 6, 2 multiplied by 10 that equals to 20, right? So, this is the table of 2, right? Now, I need to display this table with the help of C programming, right? I need to write a program, C program, to display a table of 2, for example, right? First, before applying a loop, first we need to understand how the process is going on. There is a number that remains same throughout the process. There is another number which is getting changed, right? First time it is 1, next time it is 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6 up to 10. How many number of times I am doing this process? That is 10. That means here we require a number whose value is getting changed and up till what? Up till 10, right? So, what will be the condition? 10 times this process has to get repeated. Which is the process? This is the logic, we can say 2 multiplied by 1, right? Then multiply by 2, multiply by 3 and so on. That means n, a particular number, multiply by 1 to 10, right? Simply I will be having a table in that case, right? So, first of all, we must be having that number on which we will be applying this concept, or for which we will be finding out the table, right? So, just display a message, enter any number, okay. Now, I need to read that number. To read the number from the user, we use a scanf function in C programming language, as we have discussed in the earlier lectures, that we are having some input and output function. So, printf, I repeat, that is a output function. It gives us output or display some message, right? And input function is scanf. Scanf is a input function. It reads a number from the user, right? So, we have asked the user to provide a number, right? So, for example, user has given n is equal to 2, right? What we need to do? We need to multiply this number 10 times by 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 10, right? How it will be executed? That means in the first iteration, in the first step, when the value of I equals to 1, I have initialized I as 1, right? Before using any variable, it is must to initialize the value of that particular number, otherwise it will be taking some garbage value, right? Either you initialize, either you assign some number, or you can take the input from the user, right? So, here what is the requirement? I have initialized the value of I, okay. In the very first step, when the value of I is 1, say I is equal to 1 less than is equal to 10. Condition is true. Fine. Our condition is true. What it has to do? Printf n multiply by I. What is the value of n? That is 2. What is the value of I? That is 1. So, what it will display? It will display 2. Here, please note it down that we have used slash n. What it does? It gives us a second line, that next line. That means now the cursor will be in the next line. It will display 2 and the cursor will be in the next line, right? Okay. This is what I plus plus. That is an increment operator. In the upcoming slides, I will be discussing this operator in detail. For now, we can understand when we are writing I plus plus, that simply says I is equal to I plus 1. Fine. Okay. So, the value of I now has become 1 plus 1, that is 2. So, what it will check now? It will check 2 less than is equal to 10. Condition is true or false? Yes, 2 is less than 10. Condition is true. Fine. If the condition is true, okay, the control will be here on this statement. Now, what is the value of n? That is same. It is 2. What is the value of I? Now, I has become 2. Okay. So, 2 into 2, it will display 4. Again in the next line, I has become again what? 2 plus 1, it becomes 3. 3 less than is equal to 10. Yes, condition is true. What it has to do? N into I. What is the value of n? 2. What is the value of I is? That is 3 now. Right? And so on. I plus 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 plus. 3 plus 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7, then 8, then 9, and then 10. 10 less than is equal to 10. Condition is still is true. Okay. What it has to do? 2 multiply by I. What is the value of I? That is 10. It has displayed 20. Now, the value of I becomes 10 plus 1 is equal to 11. 11 less than equal to 10. Is the condition true? No. Condition is false. 11 is not less than 10. Right? Now, it will get exit from the loop. Right? Fine. So, after this loop, whatever statement will be there, that will be executed. Okay. So, that is how the program will be executed and you will get this output complete, right? Just fill in the blanks, right? That is another program we can do for our practice. Okay, let me show you very fast. This is the program to check whether a given number is Armstrong or not. Actually, this program is very much important as far as your examinations are concerned or your vivas and interviews are concerned. Generally, this question is being asked, right? So, first of all, the question arises, what does it mean by an Armstrong number? What is the Armstrong number? For example, suppose if I take the example of 153, right? Okay, I'll take the sum of cube of each and every digit. That means 1 cube plus 5 cube plus 3 cube, right? Okay, let me check. What is that? 1 plus 125 plus 27. Now tell me, what is the number? Okay, if we add, we get 153. Yes, that is our Armstrong number, right? So, Armstrong number is, for example, I am having a 3-digit number, fine, then the sum of cube of every digit is equal to the number itself. We say the number is Armstrong. Okay, so we have to write a program to check whether a particular number is Armstrong or not. So, first of all, I need to read a particular number. Okay, what is the number? For example, again, I take the example of 153. Now, I must be having each and every digit so that I can calculate the cube of these numbers, right? Fine. That means, first of all, I must be having the last number, that is 3, then 5, then 1. Fine. How will do? I have applied a loop, right? And the condition we have applied, that is num not equals to 0. Now, what is num? Num is the number for which we have taken an entry from the user, right? Num not equals to 0. Why it is so? Because every time we are extracting one digit from this number. Okay, fine. I want this number. I have applied a modular operator. What modular operator does? It simply returns the remainder. Okay, fine. That means if I divide 153 by 10, because it is of integer type, what remainder I will be having? Right? If I apply a modulus operator, okay, on 153 modulus operator 10, what it will return? It will simply return 3. Okay, that means one digit I have received. Okay, now I need to find out the cube of this number. Fine. So, in the C programming language, we are having a math.h header file, and in math.h header file, we are having a power function that is POW, and in power function, we need to specify a variable name for which we need to calculate the power and comma that power. Suppose you need to find out 3 raised to the power 2, then you must have given this variable raised to the power 2. Now, we are finding out the remainder raised to the power 3. So, we have passed this parameter, this variable name comma 3. That means, for now 3 raised to the power 3, and that will be added with the sum. Initially, I have initialized sum as 0, so that no any garbage value must be there. So, 0 plus 3 cube. So, 0 plus 27, that has been assigned to a number sum. Fine. So, what is the value of sum right now? That is 27. Now, because I need to find out the next number, what I did, I have simply divided this number by 10. So 153 divided by 10, what it will return? What it will return? It will return 15 because it is of integer type, right? Keep this thing in your mind. We are working on an integer type of a variable. 153 divided by that is 15. Now the number is 15, not 153. Fine. So again it will check 15 not equals to 0. Yes, condition is true, 15 is not 0. Okay, now again we'll do the same process. Num modulus 10. What is the value of num now? The num is 15. Num is 15 modulus 10. So 15 modulus 10 is equal to what? 5. That's what the second digit is, right? Again we have applied the same function. Okay, fine. Sum plus, what is the value of sum? That is 27 plus power of remainder. What is remainder? 5. 5 cube. It will return 125. The value of sum is now 152. Num divided by 10. 15 divided by 10. What you will get? 1. Fine. Num not equals to 0. 1 not equals to 0. Yes, condition is true. Again, the same process. Num modulus 10. 1 modulus 10. It will return 1. Okay. So, sum plus power of 1 cube. 1 comma 3. That means 1 cube I am calculating. Sum plus, what is the value of sum? 152 plus 1 cube is 1. Sum is equal to 153. Right? Num equals to num divided by 10. 1 divided by 10. Right? Now we have 1 divided by 10. Right? So it will return us a 0. 0 times. We cannot divide 1 with 10 while we are working on integers. Right? So it will check num not equals to 0. It is 0. That will exit. What is the value of sum? This one, 153. What is the value of num? Num is some 0 value. That's why initially we have stored in a temporary variable the value of num, right? That's why we have written n is equal to num. So what user has entered? User has entered 153. 153 was assigned to n. Fine. So what we will check now? We will check if n is equal to sum. Okay, if the value of n is equal to sum. What is the value of n? That is 153. What is the value of sum? That is 153. Then we say the number is Armstrong, otherwise number is not a Armstrong. Okay. So let me show you. Just a second. Now you can see the number is Armstrong or not. That's how we can write a program. Okay. I hope that is clear. Fine. So we'll move further. That is our do while loop. Next is do while loop. Yes, this is also known as exit control loop. That means first the loop will be executed. Later on, it will check the condition. Okay. The while loop performs a test first before executing the statement, and the do statement performs a test afterwards. As long as the test is true, the statement in the loop are executed again. And this is the syntax of do while loop. What we need to do, this is the body of the loop. First statements, whatever statements you want to execute, include that. Then while, and within the parenthesis you will specify a condition, and please note that there is a semicolon. Which is very important, right? So now we'll see what increment and decrement operators are, as we have seen this the use of increment operator in the previous slide. When we write plus plus, a simple plus simply says that is a addition operator, right? That simply add two numbers. But when we write double plus sign, okay, that is the increment operator, which adds 1 to a variable. It can be used as a statement by itself or within an expression. Okay, it can be put before or after a variable. Either we can write a plus plus, either we can write plus plus a. Accordingly, we will be calling pre-increment and post-increment. Okay, if before a variable we say pre-increment, if after a variable we say post-increment. What is pre-increment? It means to add 1 to the variable, then use the result. And what post-increment says, put after a variable, that means to use the current value of the variable, then adds 1 to the variable. Okay. For example, a is equal to 5, a plus plus. First the statement will be executed. Now the value of a will become 6. Say b is equal to 5 plus plus b. Yani pehle first we need to increment the value, then we'll be using. So plus plus b. Yes, the b is now 6. C is equal to 5 and d is equal to plus plus c. First increment the value of c by 1. So the value of c is 6. Yes, and the value of d is also 6. Okay. E is equal to 5, f is equal to e plus plus. First use the current value of variable, then increment. Okay. So what is the current value of e? That is 5. So f is 5 and now incremented by 1, it becomes 6. Right. So these are the examples of increment operator. Okay. One more example you can take, plus plus x plus y plus plus. Pre-increment, first increment the value, then use this value of variable. Okay. So x is equal to 10, x becomes 11, right? Y is what? Y plus plus, y, the value of y is what? That is 100 incremented by 1. So 100 plus 1. When this value is getting added to plus plus x, what will be going out there? Plus plus x, that says pre-increment. Okay, plus 10 plus 1, it becomes 11, plus y plus plus, that is a post increment. What is the value of y? That is 100. Okay. So the value of z, that becomes 111. Right. Now similarly we are having decrement operator. The way it increment operator adds 1 to the value of a variable, decrement operator subtracts the value by 1. Fine. So it can be used as a statement itself and as an expression, and similarly we are having pre-decrement and the post-decrement. Fine. So let me show you the examples of pre-decrement and post-decrement. We can see a minus minus, that is a post-decrement. So now the value becomes 4. Here as well the value is 4. Now we can see the value of d equals to pre-decrement, the value of c, that is minus minus c. Minus minus c says decrement by 1. So the value of d is 4, and yes, the value of c will be 4. This is a very much important and most commonly used or you can say a user friendly or handy kind of a loop. So what is the syntax of for loop? We say for, then initialize the value. For example, I is equal to 1, I less than is equal to 10, I plus plus, right? That says initialize, then condition needs to be checked, and then pre increment, post increment, increment or decrement. Okay, fine. So initialization, then condition, and then after your increment or decrement will be there. Okay, these are just the parts of the for loop. As I told you, first we need to initialize, then we need to check the condition, and then increment or decrement. Okay. So I will be discussing one example which is very important and commonly used. Find out the factorial of a given number using a for loop in C programming language. So first of all, I must be having that number, right? And then I need to calculate the factorial of number. Fine. So what is the factorial of a given number? Factorial of a given number simply says, suppose I take the example of 3. 3 into 2 into 1. Fine, that means decrement by 1 and 1 and 1 and then need to multiply. Okay. So simply we have applied a for loop for I is equal to n greater than equals to 1, I minus minus. So what it says, what is the value of n? In our example, we have taken 3. I is equal to n. Fine. I becomes 3. I is equal to 3. I greater than equals to 1. Condition is true. What it has to do? Fact is equal to factorial into 1. We have taken a variable fact. And I have initialized the value of fact as 1. So 1 into 3. So 3 will be assigned to the fact. Next time I minus minus. I becomes 2 now. 2 greater than 1. Condition is true. 3 into 2. Next time I minus minus. I becomes 1. 3 into 2, that was 6. The value of fact was 6. 6 into 1. Right. So that's how it will return the value of factorial. And that is how we can use the concept of for loop. Right. And here, these are the references from where I have included the contents in my slides. Thank you.